Well, we're going to start off with some more parts that we're going to be putting together. I've glued on or epoxied on my backing plates onto my hatches. Now I've got the circles lined out, so I'm going to cut those out now with my saber saw. And I've got this will be a step insert into the forward side of the aft seat in order to give me some foot room. You probably have to do that on your boat too, depending on how tall you are. I'm like 5'9", 5'10", and I need the step in here. So if you're shorter, you know, you may not need it, but if you're taller, yeah, you're going to need it, and you may have to move it back farther. But I've got my wings on, and one of the little tricks I use is I got some aluminum angle here that I'll clamp on to my board and then gel magic along the edge, and then use some other clamps to hold it in place. So you don't need a lot of force. I've been looking at maybe getting a 23 gauge pin nailer, which would be nice to put in some little fasteners in here, which might have gotten around having to need the clamps. But never to line it flat. So we'll cut out some strips of visqueen so it'll come out. Now I'll go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I've got a little bit of bleed down, but I'm going to put an easy fillet along in here for strength. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to glass the back, but I may, which isn't that hard. But I will have to round this surface over because glass does not like to go around the square edge. Put in a slight roll in it, and then the glass fibers will have something to bend around. If you try to leave it straight, one side may be flat, but the other side will have a hump like that, and you don't want that. So let me go ahead and do some cutting, and we'll come back. Another piece that I'm going to have to epoxy a backing plate on will be the aft seat, aft side. But because we've got that 2x2 that goes through here on the top, my hatch will intrude, my 10-inch hatch or 8-inch hatch, the rim will intrude into where the 2x4 or the 2x2 goes, but it'll be on the outside, but the inside ring of the hatch will be right in here, and that's below the 2x2. So what I have to do is epoxy on another backing plate, and then I'm going to, we want to save wood, remember, it doesn't really matter, so I'm going to, you know, whether it's one piece or two pieces or three pieces on the backing plate. Then I'll scab on this little piece at the bottom on it. And I've got a hatch for the aft side of the bow seat, which I'll have to do too, and then cut out the hole for that. But I just wanted to show you that you have to remember, which is on the bow seat has that same problem too, that you got to keep below that 2x2. And on these guys, I had to stay below those cross seat supports we put in on that last video, or 2 videos ago. So you always be thinking ahead of what you're doing, and don't make the mistakes that I've made over a number of boats. Another thing you want to check after you have your hole cut out is that your hatch has a little bit of play, that it spins. You don't want to have it so tight that you have to press it in, because then that distorts the ring and it makes it hard for the lid, especially on the screw-in kind and the quarter-turn ones. It makes it impossible to get out again. This one's the new pop-off kind that has a press-in like that, and then you pull this little tab and then pull off the lid. We'll see how they work. Another thing that I'm going to do, I found, is I got my 1/2-inch stapler here, and it really works pretty good for holding these two panels together. I've been using clamps, but I got places where it's really hard to make. So when this cures, I'll just get my screwdriver out and lift all these up, and because it's on the inside, you won't see it. And if you have squeeze out, take your little AARP card or whatever, plastic credit card, and take the excess and put a coat. Take that excess and spread it around, because we'll be giving these things another coat later before we put them away again. So got this one, so set it off the side. Now that you have the panel finished and the holes cut out and sanded all the way around, but before we get in and epoxy coat the inside and all the surfaces, you want to make certain that you have a coat of epoxy. I'll probably do this a couple times on the inside. All the edges, all the way around, edges of the backing plate, edges on the inside of the hole. But now I've got a center line from the other side transferred down, and I've got a mark in here behind the hole on top and bottom. And you want to, it's really helpful to have one of these like I used the one on the Orlocks, that spring-loaded door jamb, because when you drill into it, it centers it. And the other thing you want to do is to put in, you can't see what I'm doing here. Put in a temporary screw. We'll be using number 8s, but just something so it doesn't wiggle around. And then go ahead and then drill. So it doesn't have to go all the way through. But now they're all centered, so when I put one screw in, when it's all done and I have the RTV around the edges to seal it off, when I put it in, one screw is not going to try to jam it and force it around the other way. It may not be as bad on these pop-out ones, but on the screw-in and in the quarter-turn ones, it's really important that you don't distort the frame, that when you put the RTV sealant around it, or the silicone sealant, whatever you use, that you put it in, push it down and kind of hold it in place with, you know, a plate, a piece of wood on top, to just hold it down flat against this surface, and not try to screw it in, because you might distort the frame. And then after it's set up, put the screws in. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I got one more to do, and then the 2 other ones on the big 8-inch hatches on the aft side of the forward seat and the aft side of the stern seat. I've got those already in place. Well, drilled, but they're not in place yet. So we'll get on it. Some more of that time of trying to figure out who's on first. I've got the aft outside inside part done, and my inside panels here for the footwell for the center seat finished and mocked up in place, and I've got my footwell finished. It's kind of clamped in place, but I've got to take it all out, and now I'm going to I have one little segment on Spiling. That was one of my viewers that sent in a comment there that is called Spiling, pronounced like spy, S-P-I-L-I-N-G, Spiling stick, which is what this is. So we will do another Spiling stick trick for one of these side panels to give you another idea from start to finish of what I'm doing. So, okay, I wanted to start out with setting my, I want the this panel to overlap this center piece. Yeah. Should I? Yeah. Should I go in? No, I'll overlap the outside of it. I'll have a little bit of trim work here to do. So I'll set my first line right here. That'll be my turning point. Whoops. Take my Spiling stick and come in here to what I think is going to be the center line of the first hull seam, and then I should mark. Okay, it's the same thing for straight up and down, and the first mark is a little bit lower. So I'll have one right here for the center line, and one down here for number 1. And I will draw its line there, and we'll come up here to the second one. Draw its line. And then this one's going to encounter the 4th one. Or the 3rd. And this line. Now,